Now, welcome to another lightning response video where I will once again take a question from the comments and try to give it a rather quick and concise response. And this time, that question comes to us from Ember Fist, who asked, "Hey Thor, I have to ask, why is it that many fans seem to think that the Jedi were in the wrong during the prequels, or that they strayed from their path and they needed to be eliminated? I have heard this claim in the fandom quite a few times, and I want to understand the argument behind it." Okay, so I think one of the main reasons why some believe the Jedi of the prequel era needed to be eliminated is because they have a fundamental misunderstanding of what the balance of the Force is. I think when they hear the word balance, they naturally or automatically envision a scale with equal parts on both sides. And thus, if the Sith needed to be eliminated for there to be balance, which is what the prophecy, as far as we know, says the Chosen One is meant to do, they're going to eliminate the Sith and bring balance to the Force. In their minds, that must also mean the Jedi needed to be eliminated so that the scales are equal on both sides. That will have just as much dark as we will light, and everything is in balance. However, you'll quickly notice that the Jedi of the prequel era didn't seem to get all too nervous about the prophecy potentially coming to pass, because they know that balance is not equal dark and light. It doesn't require their destruction. Instead, it's the other definition of balance that we're looking for here, the one that simply means or refers to harmony, or a system working as intended, in this case the galaxy and the Force. And in actuality, all the Jedi are really supposed to do is follow the will of the Force to correct or prevent imbalances, not be out there trying to perfect the galaxy or to bring absolute order or anything like that. Their goal isn't to destroy the dark side and let there only be light, as much as it is to keep the peace and to stop those who would use the dark side, like the Sith, because they can cause massive imbalances, like, for example, Palpatine taking over the whole galaxy. This then rather naturally puts them in alignment with the Republic and why they have essentially been allies or in allegiance for as long as they both have existed. They both basically want the same thing, a peaceful galaxy where people can go about their lives and more or less live as they want to live. However, the big difference between the two is the Republic itself is going to be, shall we say, far more proactive. They're going to create and enforce laws and manage things all the way down to the micro level. Right down to, say, writing a ticket for someone jaywalking, which is something a Jedi wouldn't bother with because, for one, they don't exactly enforce the laws of the Republic, and for two, someone jaywalking doesn't mess with the balance of the Force. Instead, what the Jedi are out there to do, and keep in mind there are only about 10,000 of them during the prequels, which sounds like a big number until you remember how many planets there are in the galaxy and just how many people there are in the galaxy. Anyway, they're out there to handle things on the more macro level, you could say, the big problems, and to remain neutral and in service of the Force while doing so. Which means, even though, yes, they are aligned with the Republic, it doesn't necessarily mean they'll automatically take their side in a dispute. Like if, for example, the Republic has an issue with a world outside the Republic and the Jedi intervene, in theory, the Jedi are just as likely to side with the other world outside the Republic as they are the Republic, if that is what the will of the Force is indeed pointing to. And so when we see the Jedi in the prequels, it rather quickly becomes apparent they're a bit too entangled with the Republic. They feel more like a peaceful enforcement arm of the Republic rather than being a truly independent faction. They even end up fighting a war for the Republic. Basically here, the Jedi should only be listening to the will of the Force to know how to keep the balance, not listening to the will of the Republic to help them enforce their laws and rules and govern the galaxy, which isn't to say they should never work together. That cooperation between the Jedi and the Republic is somehow inherently bad. That's not even remotely close. Only that they shouldn't be working for the Republic because the Jedi are out there, you could say, getting involved now in things they're not needed in, or that they're doing a bit too much, which is kind of unbalancing the Force the other way towards the side of the light. Keeping in mind here that though the Jedi use the light side, they don't use it for the light side as much as they use it to keep things in balance. The best way I can put it, and it's an example I've used before, not a perfect one, but it does the trick. But think of the galaxy as the human body, and think of balance as that body or that individual being healthy. That then makes the Jedi the immune system. They're only to fight illness, infection, and disease, and to make sure the body stays healthy. But if that immune system acts up, tries to do too much, that can also cause a major problem. Which is what the prequel Jedi have essentially become, an overactive immune system for the galaxy. Their mere existence isn't the problem, as much as doing too much is. Which means those who think the Jedi of the prequel era needed to be destroyed are kind of right, but also pretty much wrong. They didn't need to be destroyed. The Jedi could have separated themselves from the Republic, rediscovered their true purpose, and everything would have been fine. But since they didn't do that, they ended up getting into a war and getting destroyed, and their removal did, in a way, help restore the balance eventually, or when Luke destroyed the Sith and he was left to rebuild the Order the right way. Well, that's all I got for you this time. Now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell me what you think about all this, or by all means, ask me a question for a future lightning response video. Just start your comment off with something like, "Hey Thor," and then ask away. Either way, do leave those comments below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.